Hey guys, what's up? Tyrai521 back for another LEGO custom painted minifigure showcase, and in this one we have my custom painted Driver from the film Drive, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn. Drive is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. It's more of a, this is gonna sound so pretentious, it's more of a film than a movie. I know that sounds really corny and really pretentious. But it's one of the first movies that I watched that it was an introduction to more sophisticated cinema in a way for me. It was because Drive is, in a way, it is kind of a mainstream action, not really action, but more like a mainstream thriller movie. But it's got elements of art house filmmaking in it as well. You know, lots of slow, lots of very slow scenes, long pauses in between, you know, the dialogue. And just an artistic vision, you know, very ambient, quiet, you know, contemplative music. One of my favorite film scores of all time. It's probably tied with Lord of the Rings as my favorite musical score for a movie. But yeah, like I said, it's in my top 10 favorite movies. It's one of those movies that just kind of introduced me to that type of movie. You know, it's one of the first experiences I had with, you know, an actual movie that people would consider, like, you know, more of a film or more of something to be studied than just an entertainment movie. And I think Ryan Gosling delivers a fantastic yet subdued performance in it. I think Nicholas Winding Refn directs it incredibly well. I think Cliff Martinez delivers one of the best film scores I've ever heard in my life. It's just a really great, it's just like a really great film experience, and that's why I love it so much. And Driver is such a cool and mysterious character with an awesome wardrobe that I wanted to make a figure of him. This is a remake figure from a figure I made back in early 2017, which was horrendous. I really don't like that figure. Is yellow skinned for whatever reason. It's just bad in so many ways. Very few things stayed the same going into this remake figure. But yeah, so let's just get started with him. He's painted essentially in the Driver jacket, his like stuntman jacket that he wears through a lot of the film. As you can see, I kind of painted on the X pattern all around it. That took like 2 or 3 different versions before I was happy with it. Because I wanted to make it like, you know, the right shade of gray so it doesn't stand out too much, you know. So it's kind of more like a subtle thing painted onto the torso rather than a main detail. But I also wanted the lines to look I also wanted the boxes to look symmetrical, which I was having a bit of an issue with. So trying to balance those two things was a little tricky, but I think I did a decent job. You can see he's got some pockets towards the bottom there, and he's got like a black stripe at the bottom of his jacket, which is why this little gray line right here is actually meant to be the end of the jacket, so like it extends onto his hip piece right there, with the black line of the waist representing the black line at the bottom of the jacket. You can see he's got a bunch of blood stains on there from one of the big climactic scenes of the movie. Which I will not spoil here. He's got some blood on his white sneakers from one of the final shots of the film, where it slowly pans up his body, and you see he's got his sneakers are just like kind of coated in blood. His face, I feel like that face represents Ryan Gosling very, very well. At least it represents his stoic look in this film. I use the same face for my Officer K figure from Blade Runner 2049. And he's got the Obi-Wan hairpiece, because I feel like it's got like the combed over look that Ryan Gosling also has in the movie. His gloves, he's wearing some brown driving gloves that he wears throughout the film, which I just painted a little bit of skin, because they're like kind of more like wrist, like driving gloves. They don't really extend onto his wrists at all. So I painted skin color on the wrists, as well as the top or the cuffs of the sleeves. I painted a little black line on, just like in the film as well. You can see that's the same for both arms. He's got some like holes in the gloves, but I don't like painting on hands, so I just kind of left those blank and I didn't bother adding that detail. You see he's got some, this is kind of left over from the previous version of the figure I had, and I just figured I wouldn't erase it because it is accurate. But he does have some black, I don't even know what to describe. It's just kind of like some black inner lining of the jacket or whatever, kind of underneath the sleeves. So that's what these little triangle things under his arms are. If we take a look at the back of him, you can just see he's got the collar of the jacket, as well as the bottom line, like I said, indicating that the waist piece is technically still part of the jacket. The continuation of the box pattern, as well as the scorpion, because a big theme of the movie is the story of the scorpion and the frog, and how just how that fable plays into the events of the film. So he's got a scorpion on the back of his jacket, and I feel like I did a much better job replicating it in this version than I did in my last version of this figure. This one I outlined it in black, and then painted on some gold details over the black to kind of give it as like an easier way of outlining the whole thing in black. Because what I've done before when I wanted to outline something in black is I'll paint it and then I'll paint black around it, and that just looks terrible. So I figured an easier way to do it would just be to paint the thing in black and then paint the gold inside of it after the outline's already completed. If you guys know what I'm saying, I probably lost you there. But yeah, it's an easier way of making it stand out. So I'm pretty happy with that. You can see the continuation of his white sneakers on the back of his shoes, as well as continues on the side there. And then his accessory is this hammer that, of course, he uses at one point in the film to threaten one of Nino, who's played by Ron Perlman's gangster friends, or one of his gangster people in his mob or whatever. I don't know. I don't know the official rankings of their crew. But the sculpt of the head of the hammer was something that sculpt is the same from the last version, from the last figure of him. It probably could have been updated and looked more accurate, but I think overall the shape of it still captures it fairly well. The only way I changed the hammer is it's kind of hard to tell. Maybe if I hold it from this angle, yeah, it's gonna go all blurry. But yeah, the only thing I really changed is I squared it off a little bit. I sanded down all four sides of the hammer so he could still hold it, but so it also has a square look to it, kind of like a real hammer would. So overall, I am very happy with this figure. Like I said, it's one of my favorite films of all time. I wanted to do it justice, and I think I represented him fairly well. I should also say he's painted in a, I think I ever pointed this out, he is painted in a dark blue button-up shirt underneath, which you can kind of see under there. That's an outfit he wears. It's kind of a subtle thing because he only wears that outfit at like one point in the movie. So I thought that was a cool little detail to add. I don't know if I pointed that out or not. But yeah, overall, I think this figure turned out very well. This is an older figure. This showcase should have been made a long time ago. This figure was completed back in like late 2018, I believe. I started updating him back in like late 2017, and I put him off to the side for months, and then I finally got around to finishing him in late 2018, and he's just been sitting on my desk ever since. I was like, oh, I should do a video on him. So here you guys go. I don't know when I'll get this uploaded. This might come before my Inglourious Basterds showcase. I'm filming it before those figures are done, so I'm assuming this will probably come out before then. Let me know what you guys think of the figure. Let me know what you think of the film Drive down in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.